It's time for the Social Show with Viwe Kyolwana.
Social Show?
Social Show.
A very warm welcome to the Social Show. My name is Viwe. Welcome. It's a new month. It's a new week. All things new, all things bright and beautiful. And of course, we're going to be giving you the very best and the latest CSR, and shared news, value news in the land. This is where you're going to get your catch up. If you want to get more information, you can go to www.social-tv.co.za. Otherwise, if you're listening to the show, then you're pretty much doing the very best that you can do to catch up on the industry. In fact, if you have anything that you think I'm not really flighting or putting up or really highlighting on the show, please send me an send me a text on our Instagram or our Twitter pages or Facebook at brandlive.co.za, or you can just send me an email at press@social-tv.co.za. Don't blame me. It's been a long weekend. I felt the rest. I'm well rested, but I'm still in the middle of we really ending up the year, but at the same time it's not really the end. We still have a whole maybe 90 days to go, so I'm still a little bit in denial. But anyway, let's start off the day with the news.
CSI update.
The 19th annual Ubuntu Pathways Gala will take place this year on the 25th of October at Fox Junction in Johannesburg. Over the past 19 years, Ubuntu has transformed the lives of Port Elizabeth orphaned and vulnerable children from cradle to career. Board members Nomkita Mngweno and Siko Thomas have been key supporters of the organization. Ubuntu Pathways is internationally recognized for its model, which provides educational, health, social support to South Africa's most vulnerable children. The not-for-profit organization is headquartered in Port Elizabeth with satellite offices in New York and London. Founded by CEO Jacob Leaf and founder and senior advisor of Banks Kwangula in 1999, the organization is guided by the South African philosophy of Ubuntu, meaning I am because you are, and believes a child's circumstance should not dictate their future. In other news, maths intimidates a lot of people. However, you can enter the OLICO Maths Education, an organization that utilizes technology and tutoring to make maths make sense to learners attending under-resourced schools. OLICO is one of the year's 5 beneficiaries of the 5 for Change Black Tie event, which is actually also set for Saturday, the 27th of October, at the station in Johannesburg, as part of the 5 for Change series for Biz Community. The OLIC Maths Education has spoken a little bit about their programs and that are tailored for the South African context and what it plans to do with the proceeds for the 5 for Change event, which again is happening on the 27th of October at the station in Johannesburg, Newtown. And lastly, in our news, Durban Hills has reached a settlement agreement with the South African Paralympic swimmer Henry Herbst following the institution of legal proceedings in the Equity Court by the Law Clinic on Herbert's behalf. The winery has admitted to discriminating against Herbst in 2014 when he was refused access to the winery restaurant due to the presence of a guide dog. According to Dr. Theo Broderick, head of the Law Clinic at Stellenbosch University, the outcome is not only a victory for visually impaired people, but will assist greatly in creating awareness of the rights of people with disabilities not to be discriminated against. In terms of the settlement agreement, which was made an order of the Equality Court on the 26th of September 2018, Durbanville Hills will issue a public apology in which it admits to discriminating against Herbst and undertakes to take steps to ensure that all staff employed by Durbanville Hills will take part in sensitivity training from the Guide Dog Association of South Africa. And that concludes our news for the day.
In this learning module, we'll share with you 4 compelling reasons why you and your organization should embrace community involvement and CSR opportunities. You demonstrate your commitment to the community, your team, and your customers. You elevate the charisma and mission of your business by association with your involvement while broadening the public's awareness to your business and your brand. You allow your team to embrace a noble cause, which will strengthen their own reasons to see your company as a preferred employer. And you'll actually open up your horizons, your own horizons, in the sharing and caring about issues that are actually important in your own community, and in doing so, elevate you as a leader with other like-minded leaders. These are the first 4 reasons that will help you decide to get you, your company, and your team involved with issues that matter to the very people that live and work in the community you call home.
400 kilometers off the eastern coast of Africa, Madagascar boasts unrivaled species and ecosystem diversity. Nearly 98% of the island's land mammals, 91% of its reptiles, and 80% of its flowering plants are found nowhere else on Earth. Scientists from Chicago's Field Museum, including MacArthur Fellow Steve Goodman, are studying and seeking to conserve biodiversity here. In Madagascar and 7 other areas of the tropics, the Foundation strives to strike a balance between conservation and the needs of rural communities in developing countries. A research initiative at Arizona State University is examining this question using case studies in Peru, Tanzania, and Vietnam. Other new projects seek to identify and mitigate the threat from global climate change on species in some of the most diverse ecosystems on the planet.
Well, if you're asking yourself why you saw all these Arbor Day initiatives in the first 2 weeks of September, and you didn't really know what was going on, shame on you, because it's very important. It's a very important day. It's a day where a lot of people are coming and contributing to the environment, which has been depleted for your sake. So Arbor Day is not just important to it's such an important day to remember what the importance of trees and the importance of ecosystem and biodiversity and our environment in general, but it's also an important day for you to really understand that you play a part in making sure that future generations come to a world and live in a world that is safe and secure. The air is breathable, there's oxygen coming in and out, and it's very important. In fact, I wanted to share a very great experience that I had last week, actually, when I went to Orange Farm with the Kinalta Minolta, I think. Kinaka Minolta? Yes, I always say it wrong, sorry. But yeah, I was with them, and what they did, they have a 10-year strategy where they planted about trees in the Orange Farm area. And if you've been to Orange Farm, you know how hot it can be and how dry it can be. So they undertook an initiative where they planted trees about 10 years ago, and then we went back to Orange Farm to sort of see the fruition of those trees, and it looked very beautiful. I mean, one lady in particular who I got to speak with started her own peach sort of company where she sort of makes and not even company, she actually just gives it to the people in the community, I think, but she can also sell it. But she has canned peaches from the peach tree that was planted 10 years ago. There's just various places in schools and in ECD centers where people can just go under the shade. It's so hot in Orange Farm. It's so hot in Johannesburg in general. But what they did is phenomenal. And I think that's why I really wanted to speak a little bit about Arbor Month, about Arbor Week, which we just passed, which just concluded. In fact, it doesn't conclude because we have to always be giving back to our environment, as you know, but it's a special day set aside throughout the world to raise awareness of trees and the important role they play in our environment. The day is celebrated on different dates around the world depending on the local seasons and temperatures. In South Africa, it is in September. This is one of the features of Arbor Day, is the planting of trees, which is best done at certain times of the year. I know that in United States it's celebrated on the fourth Sunday of April, and it just varies everywhere else in the world. The day was actually first started in Nebraska in 1872, and it quickly grew to be a national and then international day. Nebraska is in America, and people throughout the world take part in tree planting events and other celebrations of trees and the role they play in our environment. And I got to witness that in Orange Farm as they planted a further 2,000 trees in the Orange Farm area, and you just saw kids learning how to plant trees, learning how to really just take care of them, how to make sure that they water them, how the whole thing works. And I mean, in 10 years from now, kids getting into that school, I think it's called Leshata Secondary Primary School, and children coming into that school are going to have shade, they're going to have peaches, they're going to have such a great time with the trees. So I think it's very important that we do talk about it. Although it's been celebrated for over 100 years, you know, its relevance today is as strong as when it sort of started. When people wonder why it's so important, they have to look at the destruction. Honestly, the destruction and the long-term damage that deforestation has had on the environment, to realize that issues are as important today as they ever been. Trees can no longer be taken for granted, my people, and it's important that we learn more about them and the role that they play, to fully appreciate the role that they play in the world. So there's just a number of people who are involved in South Africa from an Arbor Week perspective. I know it's from the 1st to the 7th of September, but remember, September is also Tourism Month for South Africa, so it kind of worked together. And I just saw a lot of departments from the government perspective, from Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, Department of Environment, Department of Tourism, coming together to really celebrate and to really bring to par Arbor Week. But more than that, just really celebrating our own indigenous space as South Africans. The trees we have, the indigenous plants we have, the ways in which we conduct our foresting, the ways in which we plant our trees. It's a little bit more strategic because of the affiliation of the government and all the things that they've really tried to do to make sure that we just don't forget the day, and we contribute in the ways that we can. So today I'm just going to give you a few ways in which you can contribute. It's never too late. I know it's the 1st of October. I know there's so much more that's coming through to you that's going to be coming for the month of October. But I'm pretty sure if I could count how many people in your office space or in your home or just in your in your group of friends, maybe 2 out of 10 even knew it was Arbor Day. Maybe 1 out of 10 actually planted a tree. So I'm just going to give you a few ways in which you can contribute to the day. So when it comes again in the next turn up, then you can definitely get yourself involved. September was quite a big month. Not only was it, tourism, it's heritage, it's obviously, as I said, Arbor Week, Arbor Month, and I just saw a lot of opportune time to call on all South Africans to plant indigenous trees as just a practical and symbolic gesture of sustainable environmental management, and it just allows your kids to play in a safe space. It allows you to be free from the sun. It's getting really, really hectic, so you really want a nice space. So a few ways in which you can celebrate still in October Arbor Day, or the Arbor euphoria that you feel, that you should be feeling. Now, first of all, the first thing is plant a tree. I mean, we do so much on weekends, guys. We go and we party and we drink and we do all these crazy things. How about planting a tree? How about getting a few friends of yours to go somewhere where there's really like a flat surface and not a lot of trees, getting the national tree to come, buying the national trees. Really not expensive to get trees, to buy them, especially when they're little, and get your friends together and have a tree planting day. You can still do this month, whether it's in your garden or a local community ground. Any tree planted makes a huge difference. Or you could sponsor a tree this month. You could also just go to your local nursery and buy a tree and sponsor it to an ECD center, a creche, a school, an NGO, whatever it is. You could really do your best to get involved. In fact, I know that Green Pop has a reforestation program, which they have almost every month, almost every September. In fact, almost year round. And you can also sponsor a tree by just getting them and supporting them to do more urban greening projects around South Africa. But also, I know Food and Trees Africa really doing amazing work. They've been planting more. I mean, I think together with Konica Minolta, they've about 400,000 trees together, which I think is phenomenal. So you can also get involved with Green Pop on that, Green Pop or Food for Trees Africa. Or just another way is to really just read a book. Read a book, spend a day, go read to a school, go read to an ECD center, go read to an NGO, and just find out a little bit more about your local trees. Notice a few new details. You can read a book for kids under a tree, which I think would be really nice. And also just something to remember, that someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. And I think it's very important that we think about that. Also, you can just spearhead a cleanup in your local park. Sometimes we see the trees, but they really aren't really fulfilling their purpose, because just under them there's like a lot of unrecycled goods, whether it be broken bottles or whatever. So you find that people aren't really utilizing the trees because of the space in which they stay in the way in which they work with the sort of gross environment that they're in. And I see that a lot. Sometimes you see these parks spring up in really specific areas, and just people around the community aren't really taking care of that specific park. So maybe you could do something really crazy this month. Organize your friends, meet up at a local park, and really just clean up unwanted waste. Correctly disposing of waste helps maintain a healthy environment. And it also just improves the beauty of the area, and it improves the safety for kids to come and play and not get hurt. You could also have an Arbor Day party. I was about to say hold your own Arbor Day party, a whole party. Create awareness in your friend group by hosting a party to celebrate Arbor Month, Heritage Month. Have fun with it. Have a theme party around local trees. People can come as trees. It's funny. Or their kids can come as trees, and everyone can bring a little plant with them. Once the party has begun, there can be a secret Santa in which the guests can swap plants and take them home with them. And they can also show on WhatsApp groups, on whatever social media that you like, how they planted the tree, and so forth and so forth. Things just become super viral when you put them online. And lastly, you could really just organize a forest walk. I mean, I love the forest. I love everything that has to do with the crinkling of the tree, the leaves on the floor when you're walking through it, the sun rays going through the branches of the trees, and just sitting under a good shaded area, and having something to eat, a sandwich or two with friends. That makes me so happy. It brings me peace. It brings me a lot of tranquility within myself. And so you could organize a forest walk. There's plenty of forests in and around South Africa, in and around Johannesburg. In any province that you're in, you definitely can pack a picnic full of fresh food, head into the outdoors for a day with your closest friends to enjoy the surrounding trees and fynbos. Take in the beautiful area, have a relaxed day in good company with fresh air. This will help relieve not only work stress, because I know the CSI industry can be stressful, but remember, what's the point of fighting for the good cause or trying to be part of a good cause if you do not even know how to enjoy it and how to partake in it and how it's going to impact your life? And I find that the more I stay outdoors, the more I do outdoorsy things, the more I can appreciate the environment. The more I go to game reserves, for instance, the more I appreciate animals, the more I read on them, the more I understand the state, the more I understand, what poaching means. The more you understand, the more appreciation you have. The more you see, the more appreciation you have. So all I'm saying is take a break from your busy city life, take a break from all the implementation documents and the monitoring and evaluation notes and all the things that you need to be doing now, because I know it's the end of the year, and just go out and enjoy nature, enjoy what it is that you're fighting for, especially if it's part of your strategy, especially if it's something that you actually do, like the company that I just spoke about. If you really what I love about them is that they do take the time out to go and see the trees, and they do eat from the trees, and they do understand and appreciate what the trees mean in that community, but also what trees mean in general. And let me know how it goes. I mean, you still have 3-4 months to really just plant a tree, name it after yourself, and watch it grow with your kids, watch it grow, make them understand the importance of it. That's how it all starts. And I heard something this weekend, and it said, we can't want to change the world before we change ourselves. So start within, and then maybe it's easier for you to go to the rest of the world. We're going to take a short break, and then after this we're going to have things to remember.
When you've been around for almost 150 years, you operate in 197 countries, and you sell millions of products a day, you have opportunities and responsibilities. A responsibility to respect people and the environment, to do the right thing, to be transparent. That's why we've asked you how we can be a better business. We've listened to what you said and taken action. We turned your feedback into 38 commitments, a set of commitments you can hold us accountable to, that we apply across our business. Sourcing, manufacturing, packaging, marketing, consuming, We've already come a long way. But this is just the beginning. We know there will be challenges. And while sometimes we might surprise ourselves, we won't always get it right first time. But we're determined to do more and to share our progress with you. To find out how we're doing, visit Nestle.com.
Well, keeping to the theme of today's show, our things to remember is going to be surrounding or around the history of Arbor Day. Because again, like I said, the more I share knowledge, the more people get to know what it is that they're actually doing and celebrating, and why they need to plant more trees, and why they need to contribute to the health of the environment. So, without any further ado, here's your things to remember clip for today.
What is Arbor Day? A day to celebrate and plant trees. After all, we couldn't live without them. It's a day with deep roots at the Morton Arboretum. We share a family history. On April 10, 1872, Nebraska held the first Arbor Day. 1 million trees were planted. That's enough to fill over 12,000 football fields. A newspaper editor and eventual Secretary of Agriculture named Julius Sterling Morton founded that first Arbor Day in America. Within 10 years, the celebration moved to schools. Children across the country planted trees and grew up beside them. Over time, other countries established their own versions of Arbor Day. Now it's the biggest day of the year at the Morton Arboretum, which was founded in 1922 by Joy Morton, the son of the man who started Arbor Day. With your help, every day can be Arbor Day, because trees need champions year-round.
That was short and sweet. That was the importance of Arbor Day and also the history of Arbor Day. I know it passed. I know Arbor Month has passed us, and I know that, don't get me wrong, I know it's the 1st of October today. I am up. I am awake. I'm just saying I don't hear enough stories on the news in general about Arbor Day, about tree planting. I didn't hear enough, and that's why I'm speaking about it on the 1st day of October, because remember, just because something is on a day doesn't mean it ends on that day. But anyway, I hope you learned a few things on the show, and if you have any queries or any questions, please send me an email, press@social-tv.co.za, and I will do my best to get a hold of you and find out why you are asking me that question. But anyway, it's been a great show. It's a beautiful week again, beautiful month. I hope you are all in a spirit of giving, spirit of goodness, spirit of really making a mark and leaving a great legacy. That concludes our show for today. If you have a bad day, plant a tree.
You're listening to brandlive.co.za.